Hi Year 10, this is Miss Kirby Smith. I hope you're all doing very well at home and carrying on with home learning as best you can. Today I'm going to kick us off with the first DIRT feedback video. As you probably have gathered, if you've had a quick flick through the entire PowerPoint from Go for Schools, there is a revision section towards the back end of this PowerPoint. But I'm only going to take you through the DIRT section today. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't do the revision, because there's a few things that I'm going to take you through that will be beneficial for you to do the revision for. So if we just have a look here, next week you'll be asked to submit a key piece of work through Teams. Now most of us, the majority of us, have already done this, so it shouldn't be too tricky for us to do. This slide takes you through how to log on to Teams and how to submit assignments, okay, or key pieces of work, as it's going to be called. So pause this, have a read through if you need to, but I just wanted to highlight that for next week. So let's get started. So for this week, this is your title, DIRT on 90 words and tense revision. As I said, we're just going to focus on the DIRT to begin with. Okay, so before we get properly started, a couple of things that we're going to do. So this is what we're going to have a look at. We're going to look at the thinking, reflection, noting what's positive about your work, and there was so much to like about what you all sent through, so really well done for that. And we're going to have a look at how we can cram everything into 90 words, because sometimes that can be a little bit challenging. How do we split up our 90 words to make the most of it and get all those bullet points in? We're also going to have a look at a couple of examples to show what went well and what can be improved, and then there's going to be an opportunity for you to improve your work as well, and I will take you through that in a minute. So on the left here we've got a reminder of what the actual task was. Now, just as a bit of a top tip, usually within a 90-word writing task we have 4 bullet points, 2 of which are present tense, 1 of which is future, 1 of which is past. It is usually split up into those different bullet points. This writing that you did, we focus mainly on the present and the future, but it is just worth noting, and you might want to write this down in your book, that for most 90-worders, we want a range of tenses, okay, past, present and future. So it's worth just keeping that in mind, especially ahead of your key piece of work for next week. So this 90-worder was about jobs and future plans, okay, and as I said, it was completed really well, okay. The majority of us did this very well, and there was something to like in everything that got sent through. So what I want you to do is just pause this PowerPoint here when I stop talking, when there's a pause, and just read through these statements and read through your writing, and which one of these statements, or how many of these statements do you think apply to your piece of writing? Okay, pause now and have a read through. So now that you've had a chance to read through your writing and read through these statements and think about which ones are relevant to your writing, you should have received DIRT codes on Teams if that's where you submitted it. Okay, if you didn't and you sent it through email, then again you should hopefully have received some DIRT codes for that. What I would like you to do is copy out the subtitle, and where you've received these DIRT codes, write down the numbers and write down the corresponding statements that apply. So if you, for example, got number 1, you write number 1, I clearly answered all 4 bullet points. So while I pause now, pause the video and write down the codes that match your feedback. Okay, so it's important to note here that we've got a whole range of different statements here that match the success criteria that you were given in the week that you had this set. Okay, so answering the 4 bullet points is really important. Okay, you stuck to what you knew, you stuck to what was in your notes. If you use Google Translate, that's not responding to that success criteria, is it? Okay, thinking about your tenses. Did you plan your answer as was suggested in the PowerPoint? It's really important. If you have a look down here, and I really want to draw attention to this, including a variety of ACOIN. Okay, you don't want to be repeating the same adjectives, intensifiers, opinion words. You want to be giving your work as much variety as is possible. Okay, that is where you're going to pick up the higher marks, and you're going to show yourself off as best you can. Okay, if you're just using j'aime, j'adore, je déteste, they're fine, but you need to make sure there's a variety and you're not just saying j'aime, j'aime, j'aime all the time. Okay, right, moving on. Here we've got a model answer. Okay, and we're still on the thinking and reflecting stage. What I'd like you to do is just read through this model answer and think about what is particularly positive about it. Okay, don't write anything down, but think about how it matches those positive statements on the last slide. Okay, how does this look similar or different to what you wrote? I'm going to pick out a few examples in a second of what I think is really nice about this particular piece of writing. So pause it, read it, and then I'll go through some positive points. Okay, so something that's really, really nice about this is that the answer has been set out in the 4 bullet points. So you can see that the top paragraph matches what job a family member does. You've got the future paragraph matching what you would like to do in the future. Okay, you've then got why you want to do your why you want to do that job, which is matching the why you want to do that job. And then finally, a job you really don't want to do, and that's our bottom paragraph there. So making sure that while you're writing, it's nice and clear to the reader, it's nice and clear to whoever's marking it, is really important, because sometimes if you mix up your bullet points, it's difficult to pick out where the different points are. So that's something that you might want to think about when you're doing your writing in future. Something else that is really, really nice about this is we've got a variety of different adjectives. So in the first paragraph, we've got créative. Okay, we've got ennuyeux, we've got difficile. That's 3 different adjectives that already shows a good breadth of knowledge, and it shows us that there's likely to not be very much repetition throughout this piece of writing. We've also got l'adore, elle l'adore, she loves it. Okay, we've also got je pense que. We've got 2 really strong opinion phrases in there, and that doesn't get lost throughout the piece of writing either, the rest of the piece of writing. So we've got je préférerais, I would prefer. Okay, we've also got j'aime, we've got je trouve que, ce serait. Okay, all of these showing that this person has got a really good sense of the variety of language, and there's little to no repetition throughout this piece of writing. Okay, so those key points, the variety, that's where we want you to show yourself off. Okay, so on the next slide, we're going to have a look at some examples of the work that got sent through. Okay. As it says in bold there in green, there are some notes next to each one about positive points and some things to help improve. Okay, what I want you to do, just read through and reflect upon what you see. Okay, compare each bullet point from the model answers on the previous side to see the similarities and differences. So you can rewind the video a little bit, okay, and match them up and see where they've hit the brief and where they just need to improve and tweak a little bit. So you can see here that we've got some really nice positive statements. We've got a coin, including a negative sentence. Sorry. We've got job spelling that is accurate. Okay, and again, one of the positive statements, or one of the improvement statements that we're going to see in a minute, is making sure that your topic-specific vocabulary is strong, so that you're including it, but also that it's accurate. Okay. In the second example, we've got topic-specific vocabulary, as I just mentioned, sentence starters from the lesson, tense accuracy, there's no repetition, and again, that's really, really important. And then finally, as another last positive, again, we've got negative phrases, topic-specific vocabulary, and spelling and tense accuracy. That's really important. If we go back to the improvements, the bits in red, okay, here we've got a really helpful tip for writing about 90-worders in general. So you need to make sure that the amount that you're writing is as equal for each bullet point as you can make it. Okay, so the first one's a little bit too short. We've got 14 words here. Ideally, we're looking for between 20 and 25 words per bullet point. Okay. Looking at the second example, the comparison was attempted, but it doesn't quite work. Okay, so if we have a look at the bullet point 3, we're looking at the comparison between, and it's just not quite working. So if we have a look at the bottom, je pense que ce serait incroyable, perfect, parce que je suis courageux, perfect, et je pense que c'est mieux que était la prof. So it's almost there. It's almost there, but we just need to tweak it a little bit more, okay? Because our tense isn't quite right. We want it is better than being, okay? And we need to just make sure we need to make sure that's a little bit better. Okay. And then lastly, we've got translate directly from English to French. So it's really important that we don't try to think in English and write in French. We want to think of how we can say something in French, so thinking in French and writing in French. If you're not sure how to say it, try and say something in a different way, or say something slightly different. Okay. Okay, so moving on, we're going to have a look at our improvement statements now. So again, pause this, look at your piece of writing, and then which of these apply to you. Okay, don't write anything just yet, just pause and have a read through. Now, again, like we did before with the positive statements, if you have received dirt codes on Teams, copy out the corresponding lettered statements. Okay, if you haven't, choose 2 or 3 and write down which you think apply to you under the subtitle from earlier. Okay, again, pause and complete that now. Okay, finally, now that you've had a chance to have a go through, what I'd like you to do is choose one of the following tasks. Okay, so you've got A, B, and C, and you can choose to do one of those activities to show that you're going to improve your work. Okay, so you can either write a new sentence to improve your original work, okay, or B, adapt one of your existing sentences or a whole bullet point, and then finally you could have a go and choose 1 or 2 bullet points from the task if you didn't have a go at writing it before. Okay, so you can flip back, you can have a look at model examples and have a go at writing your own answer to 1 or 2 of the bullet points on the left hand side. Okay, so that ends our dirt section of this PowerPoint. As I said, I'm not going to take you through the revision. If there's anything you're not sure about, obviously you can email through, but otherwise have a good flick through the dirt and make sure you bear it in mind for next week's key piece of work. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. Look forward to hearing from you soon. Bye bye.